Like to call to order the Townsend Conservation Commission meeting for Wednesday, February 8th, 2023. Can I have a roll call, please?
Linda Mack here.
James Gates.
Anna Clear.
Joan Savoy here.
Meeting is being video recorded. Is anyone else recording? Chairman's additions and or deletions. Joan, I didn't discuss this with you, but we're going to move 3.3. Did you know educational materials to our 2/22 meeting?
Oh, that's fine. It's a bouncy ball. That's fine.
Okay. Chair's report. I do not have anything new to report since last Wednesday. Review and approve the meeting minutes from 12/14/22. Has everyone had a chance to look at it?
The only thing I had a question on was the MACCG. Was it for 305 or 350?
Did you hear that, Matt? You might need to speak louder.
I did hear that. I can double check that right now.
I thought it was 350 now, and it was 305 in the.
I will double check that after the meeting, and I will fix that if I have that mistaken. I can find that quickly. Thank you, Anne.
Thanks.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of what day was it?
12/14/22.
12/14/22.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Linda, yes.
James, yes.
And yes,
Savoy, yes.
Jessica, do you mind if we move your agent's report down the line a little further
That's fine.
so we can discuss our enforcement order and our COCs?
Yeah, we can push it down to the bottom of work session or whatever. That's fine.
Okay, thank you. All right. Jump to 2.1 enforcement order 158 Main Street. Updates from 2.1 to 2.8. Status update from property owner engineer. That includes a short-term plan to stop migration of sediment and cleanup, and long-term plan to address stabilization remediation. Dan Billis is here.
Is there, how do you want me to do this so people can see this on the screen?
Actually, you're right where you are.
Yeah,
And
Oh, just-
Jessica, can you pull it up?
can you, can you pull it up? Just, oh, great.
Yeah.
And I can do it. So.
Oops. Hartley, can Jessica have screen sharing permission, please?
Can I see it?
Yeah. Can I see it?
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you.
While Jessica's pulling that up, there's a couple of issues here, and this plan will show how we plan to have to stop that erosion that's happening right now. And we need to come up with a long-term plan. But there's a couple of things that have to happen is first,
Hey Stan, can I just stop for 1 second? Pat, can you just announce you're here at 7:16, please?
Yeah, Pat Gemma, here in attendance at 7:15. I apologize, my son had the car. Had his cell phone, so I couldn't tell.
All right, Stan, sorry, thank you.
there's two places where there's water coming. There's a culvert here off 119, which is pretty much silted in or clogged in with vegetation, and that water just comes out here and it flows across the field, and it really doesn't create any channelized flow. There's water that's coming out of this pipe, about a 12-inch corrugated metal pipe that's rusty. It's been there forever. That is what's the cause of all this channelized flow, and that's not on Mr. McGee's property. So there's going to have to be some agreement with him and the abutter on if we can work on their property to remedy that, or if they say no, then we're going to have to come up with a plan B. So until we know that, we're in the process of putting together a notice of intent. but we're not quite there yet because we need to work out some of these details. But in the interim, what we're proposing to stop this flood and this erosion that's going down there is create a couple of check dams, one here and one down here, and they would be 3 to 6 inch stone, but in front of it, dug into a trench and filled with rock would be built in fabric, Marathi fabric, that would then be wrapped over the top of the stone, so the water that would hit here couldn't get any velocity and get going, and we have a temporary pump station here. If that filled up, they could pump the water out of there down to a sediment trap here, and then the water that came from this part of the deal will get trapped there, and that would allow this to settle out. And once it dries out a little bit, the sediment that's over here could be removed, and there are hay bales around this pipe now and some here, and I had Miss McGee put hay bales out in like 3 places, here, beef up these here, put them around that, and put them around that outlet. So I think the sediment's at bay, but with spring coming and rain, and if we don't get, they may not be able to do this because it's too wet. I want to make sure that we don't have another watch out there. And the good thing is that this stuff is actually, if you pick it up and look at it, it's really not silt. It's pretty sandy.
Yeah.
So it's less detrimental than silt. It
Right.
still needs to be cleaned up, but I think if we can do this, we'll stop the bleeding, and then we can figure out how to cure the patient. Not to use the medical, but that's really, this is an open wound that we need to we need to.
So I have a question about the, so prior to the work being done there, we opened up that it was vegetated
Right.
and the water was being controlled fine.
What I think was happening, this is only my opinion, I think that pipe was always there and
Yeah,
the water came out of it, but it went underground and it just led to the swale there and came out and
Yeah.
flowed down the swale. It wasn't on the surface, so it couldn't channelize.
But it was coming out down by the rail trail.
It was coming out, there was water coming out of this field, for
Yeah.
sure,
but it was slowed down because of the
because
vegetation.
of the vegetation.
So that's my question is, why would we not try to get it back to the way it used to be?
Well, we will eventually. This is just a Band-Aid.
Okay,
Eventually, we have to restore it, because otherwise,
it's gonna be a problem all the time.
This is
yeah.
temporary. We have to restore that swale and get it revegetated, but,
All right.
you know, if we do it in March or April and we have a big
Yeah.
rainstorm, it's gonna wash right out again. So we have to do it at the right time of year.
Did you locate the 4-inch pipe that's up by the dentist office also? There was a 4-inch cast iron pipe, the one that you and I.
I didn't see it. I didn't see
Really?
that one.
it. They went in there. You can't find it.
Cause I pulled a piece of dirt or a
Yeah,
lot of dirt off and it just poured like
Like
a full flow.
Dump pump. I don't know, this, you know.
Yeah, you and I never
what-
found it. I never knew about the
That was
12-inch.
nothing compared to the 12-inch pipe.
You know, it-
That started.
It looks like it comes from the building, but you don't know. You can only see
Yeah.
3 or 4 feet of it.
Right.
There could be a manhole there that's coming from somewhere else.
Yeah,
So, and without their permission, we really can't even investigate that.
and part of me, I'm just not interested in that. Because I think as the Conservation Commission, we want to see a stabilization. of it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's what this,
And-
my
and-
goal is to get this
Yeah,
stable enough
Yeah.
so that then we can go to the next step and repair
exactly. Okay. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on the
it. I'd like to,
water coming down.
I'd like to see them be able, and they can do this under the enforcement order.
Right,
In my opinion,
Yeah.
without having a notice of intent. To do some of this other stuff, we really need to have an order of conditions. So I think under the enforcement order, they can do these things as stopgap measures.
okay,
And then we can go through the process like we
Alright.
normally would.
okay. So, what time frame do you need for those, to get those
I
in?
would think you should be able to do those pretty quickly, right, Gary?
What's that?
These check dams that we're proposing,
Who's gonna do that?
you'll have to hire someone to,
That would be the contractor would do that?
yeah. So probably, I would say as soon as possible, but you know, you can't get somebody out there tomorrow.
Hopefully,
So,
but then,
Empty.
it's gonna go on Thursday, hopefully we get that closed, and that's gonna stop all
Right, yeah, but we're still gonna have to put something there, because now that it's eroded, any water in there is just gonna rock it right down there. So I'll go over that with you either later or, you know, when you have a contractor that's gonna do some of this work,
Right?
I should interface with them. I'll just that. But it is kind of important to get them on board sooner than later.
Yeah, and that's how we need like a timeframe.
Well, I would
Because the sooner the better.
Oh,
obviously.
absolutely.
If it continues and we still continue to have, you know, issues
Right.
there, then, you know, we start going into enforcement and fining and that kind of thing.
Right.
So if we can have a time frame that's
Yeah.
pretty
I think the hay
realistic.
bales that you put out last week are working.
That slowed it down. a little.
So there's some temporary measures in it now. What do you think it would be? Do you think you could get somebody, it's probably unrealistic to think you could get somebody out there in a week?
I don't know.
I would say 2 weeks. And then the next couple of weeks look relatively dry.
Okay,
And,
But
yeah, and warm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So before the next meeting.
Who, would it be the man who did the original work? No?
So I'll keep you guys informed as to how they're doing with that. And as you know, everybody's busy, so. I know how to find somebody. And they don't have the equipment. So
Oh, yeah.
you need like a mini excavator. That's average. But I think that will work. That will slow that down and it will stop any sediment from coming down from here, this is where it's all washed out. This is where it's all settling out. So I'm not worried, that's flatter down there. I'm not worried about any velocity down there.
So on this plan, you have the pump, the
Yeah, the temporary.
temporary pump. Is that part of what would happen in the next 2 weeks or?
Right, yeah,
And it's temporary and then the final plans when
all that.
When it's-
This is all just,
good.
this is all to close up the wound and
Okay.
then, you know, we'll get the plastic surgeon in there.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
But we have some other details we have to work out before we can even come up with a final plan.
Yeah.
A restoration plan. We need to know, is the abutter gonna work with us to fix this, or are they gonna tell us to go away? And if they do, what do we do with the one that's coming out of the pipe? So we need some of those things need to be worked out.
I have
But
a
for
question.
now-
Have you talked with them at all?
I haven't personally, no. I don't know if Terry has talked to them or not. I think they were unreceptive.
The
but
dentist.
The dentist.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to do anything. As soon as you get this part of the pocket, it doesn't go any further. She doesn't want to move it.
No.
So
So,
that's why there's gonna be a cease and desist order if you're on, yeah, Thursday. It's gonna happen.
and who's gonna do that?
Farm Bureau, the lawyer for the Farm Bureau, who I'm meeting with tomorrow.
So, yeah,
I think we have to do something, because if we wait to file a notice of intent, even if we filed it tomorrow, going through the whole process
Right.
about our notice.
Yeah, you said it in an email. It's
Easily a month, so
and you're right.
we don't want to let that sit there. for-
No.
I think my person. Right.
Yeah,
I do as well.
I do too.
Share here.
and that's why I think the timeframe, if those things get up, I think that's the biggest concern.
Then we can breathe. a little
Then we
bit,
can
so-
breathe a little and you can work on the notice of
Right,
intent.
right. And we can get that right, instead of running through it and saying,
Right.
here it is, let's do it, and then it doesn't work. We'd rather take a little, get that under control, take a little time, make sure we get it right.
Yeah.
And fix it permanently.
Okay. Jessica, do you have anything you want to add to this?
Sorry, this is like the dumbest question, but are the, are these check dams, did I miss this? Are they temporary or are they permanent?
Temporary.
They'll be temporary.
Okay, so until it gets revegetated, okay.
You know, the
Yes,
final solution here may involve some check dams, but it wouldn't be these, because these are gonna be, you know, at the swell, we're gonna be 3 feet high, covered with fabric, so that we stop the.
Okay.
You know, so they come out.
the point of a restoration plan under an enforcement order is to restore the resource area to its original condition. So I would definitely push to have it revegetated instead of leaving in man-made structures. But I get,
Well,
yeah,
it's-
we're probably 3 months away from having anything sprout up anyway. That's gonna make any difference with erosion.
And that would be the goal of the final restoration, is to have it return to its natural state.
Yeah, this is just the Band-Aid fix plan.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so restoring back to, as original as we can get in the meantime, that
Yeah.
can all be done under the
The notice.
enforcement order without an
Yeah.
NO.
Right. So what would the notice of intent be for then?
If they're proposing alterations to the future original channel. So it is up to you guys' discretion if you want to sort of use the restoration plan and hold a hearing and a butter notifications, things like that. Could do an NHESP determination, or just skip all that and get straight to work. So, I mean, I probably would recommend a combination of both. It might be a little out of order.
So we were thinking that they would put this temporary control measures in the next 2 weeks. And then there would be a focus on the restoration, because we want it to go back to the way it was, where vegetation was what was keeping the intense flow of water coming through. But that might not, I mean, that
That's
we can be doing, if we do that under a notice of intent, then we can start that notice of intent
Right,
and have hearings about
I
that.
guess what I'm hearing Jessica saying, you could do it under the enforcement order, but in my mind, the enforcement order is a temporary thing.
Right.
And I don't think we can do that restoration of that field until well into, the end of spring.
I
agree.
So
I agree.
to keep the enforcement, I agree, if you keep the enforcement order in place,
Yeah.
then they could do some of this cleanup of sediment down
Yeah.
here and stuff like that, but to restore the swale and revegetate it, I don't think we can do that
Right.
now.
So I'm more comfortable having the notice of, that this be dealt with under the enforcement order, and the notice of intent be the larger, like
Yeah.
vegetative.
Yeah, the final,
The final.
So we look at the whole, how you're gonna bring
Exactly.
it back to the way it was.
That was my thinking.
Yeah, is that okay, Jessica?
Yeah, no, I think that's fine. Yeah. I mean, one of my comments at the last meeting was about removal of the sediment down in the wetland on state property too. Cause it's all, I mean, a lot of Mr. McGee's property also is mapped as priority habitat. So, I mean, on the farm field, I'm not as concerned about disrupting habitat, but I'm more concerned about disruption of habitat down in the state property. So I would definitely push to have Mass Wildlife's input on sediment removal in that wetland, because they know a lot better about what's there than us.
Have they been contacted?
Not by me, not yet. And maybe, I don't know if maybe that's more appropriate for the commission to contact.
Mhm.
I also was thinking, the notice of intent requires abutters to be notified,
Butters,
and then they'll be notified at that point.
right,
So that's why the sooner we do a notice of intent, after we get this stabilized,
Yeah.
the better.
as soon as we know.
Yeah.
well, you're not gonna stabilize it, you're gonna slow down the sedimentation.
Slow it
Right.
down
The stabilization isn't gonna happen.
until good weather, until,
I just,
Right.
I know,
I just-
it's a little potato, but
Yeah,
I think,
so
I
our
think
meeting,
you guys are saying the same thing.
we're saying the same
Yeah.
thing.
So,
And
I
that
think we're
just
on a
makes
good
us-
path.
and we'll have the notice of intent
yeah, but we
prepared
need to be
as soon as,
clear.
the one big unknown is when Mr. McGee's attorney talks to the abutter and
Right.
tries to get.
That
on
also
board.
sounds like it's in the right.
That's all,
path
that's all in the
with
works.
Farm Bureau being involved.
mhm.
So, and I agree that we could clean up some of that sediment that's down along the rail trail. We got, with the hay bales there now that are
Yeah,
mitigating that, so
and that can be under the enforcement order.
I would think so.
Were any sedimentation markers, or level markers installed
No, but I can do that, and I was thinking that maybe it would be,
Where would you put that?
well, yeah, I think.
At the last meeting, we said, I think
Something
two before
maybe-
the inlet of the pipe and two after,
Right.
just to measure how much sedimentation. And I know it's a lot less than it was 2 months ago, but it's just to have an eye on it.
I'll do that. And I want to go inspect those hay bales down there, and, I just didn't have time for it, so. I can do that. I'll put something in with a, a stake with a blue flag with a sediment in now and something fixed into the public. So. I personally think we're on a good track here, and I think this is a good way to stop what's happening now, stop more erosion, and then come up with a plan to fix it.
Agreed.
I agree definitely.
Well, do we want to, kind of motion do we want to make? And
Hmm.
I think the 2 week timeframe is feasible, to keep things progressing, and then,
Who does our minutes? Is it?
yes.
So Matt, what did we say, in 2 weeks? He'll have those, what are they called? Dan,
Check the.
check Dan.
Our next meeting.
In 2
Which is
weeks.
the 27th.
And so we agreed to that, but that'll be part of the motion. What was the other one? That under the enforcement order that the siltation and the sand, whatever it is there, that will be a continual thing that we'll
Yep.
work on getting removed,
Correct.
right? Under the enforcement order. Keep our eyes on that. And then you'll work on getting a notice of intent started
Right.
to deal with,
The final restoration.
So that's my motion.
Second,
Dustin?
I'm good.
Joan, do you- Okay.
Thank you.
Pat, do you have anything you want to add?
no,
Any questions?
Do you feel there'll be any problems trying to, restart out with the vegetation again? Do you think this is all gonna, because it's been pulled away, and yes, you're gonna plant again, but is there anything we're gonna do to assure that water's not going to just somehow get over the vegetation?
Well, that's why we have to know what we can do with this situation here, which is where the water is coming out, so we have to, depending on what the abutter is willing to do with us, is gonna depend on what we do with that pipe exiting, and we'll figure that out when we know their answer as to how we do that, so. When that swale gets restored, there's all kinds of slope stabilization things we can use, jute mats or fiber mats and things that hold the soil in place while the vegetation takes hold.
Something for the reptiles to fall through freely.
Very
I had when I had a 1-to-1 slope that. So because of this year especially, it was anchored into the slope, but the loam was frozen, but the soil underneath it thawed, and the anchors just let go and the whole slope went down.
Oh, God.
Luckily, all it did was going through a detention basin that was under construction, but.
So we have a motion and a second. I don't have anything else to add. I think
Not
we'll a vote.
yeah, I'm good.
So roll, please.
Pat General, yes.
Linda Mack, yeah.
James Gates, yes.
Amber, yes.
Joan Savoy, yes.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Stan. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you very much.
So I wanted some more copies of that.
Oh, good, thanks. Oh, also, Jessica, you said something about the plans weren't stamped. By,
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes. Stan, if you just next round of plans or whatever, if you can,
Yeah,
add
we'll have,
buffers, and then the part of the enforcement order was to have a professional engineer do this.
sure.
and you said to add buffers on the plan? Did you just say that?
I just said that, yeah. If that's possible, please.
That's not a big deal.
All right.
Or at least on the, when you get to the NOI, I think we all know enough of
Oh, yeah.
what's going on right now, but
This was pedal to the metal, so
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Karen, have anything you good? Thank you
Thanks
for joining us.
coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For having me.
Yeah. Okay.
She did better.
She's with the rail
Oh,
trail.
that's fine. I knew her from somewhere.
Moving on.
Mhm.
Forward. Request for the certificate of compliance, 7F9 Riverbank Terrace, DEP number 3080629. We have one of the owners here. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
And what was your name again?
Lawrence Libby, Libby.
Thank you. Jessica, do you have can you talk about this, please?
Yeah, so this is just continued from our January meeting. I wish I could say July. So we have, 7 to 9 Riverbank, in like 2015, I think. Conservation Commission issued a permit for a septic repair within the riverfront area. That was done. The permit was issued to Deborah Alamed, who used to be Mr. Libby's next door neighbor, I believe. And then there was no certificate of compliance ever issued for the work, even though it was done after a few months. Recently, I reached out to Deborah as the permit holder, indicating that, not all the T's were crossed and the I's were dotted. And so she did file the request for certificate of compliance. At the time of the filing, she had requested getting a waiver from the $400 fee that had accrued because the certificate of compliance had never been filed for. That waiver request was denied by you guys back in January. And then you had requested that I reach out to the 2 current owners of 7 to 9, as well as Miss Alamed, to get them in to try to figure out some sort of payment of this fee so that we can issue the certificate of compliance. And so that is where we're at. But
What's the
unfortunately,
fee?
only one showed up. Thank you for showing up, by the way.
You're welcome.
So Miss Alamed was intermittently responsive to me, and then I stopped hearing from her for the last couple months, even though I've reached out several times.
So are you saying, so until we get the $400 fee, we can't issue a certificate of compliance?
That's the motion that you guys made. Yeah.
But did you hear what she said? Make sure I heard her right.
Yeah.
Okay, so and this certificate of compliance, if I remember right, is on 3 or 4 properties?
2.
2 properties?
7 and 9.
And so the certificate of compliance would show up during when a sale happens of the property, right? When they do a title search?
If the law
That's what I'm most curious about.
Yeah.
How they were able to close without them.
That's my question, like, how did that happen?
This was the
So-
first heard of it, this letter I
Yeah.
got right here the other day.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
So my suspicion, which I mentioned last time, is it because it's recorded at 7 to 9 Riverbank Terrace in the Registry of Deeds. RUVERBANK. So
Oh, that's right, you said that.
someone could have missed that. I found it. So if a, closing attorney should find it if I could, but anyway, so, I mean, that's a potential option is just to let this keep going, but fees are still accruing. And yeah, it'd be nice just to get this one closed out.
Jessica,
Yes.
can we set a final date that the unresponsive people and or the responsive people for this to be paid, or else we'll start some enforcement?
I mean, you can if you want, but in terms of like enforcement, I find enforcement of polluting of wetlands more important than an administrative piece of paper, but that is your call.
Well, if somebody has a payment due and they don't pay it, it has to be enforced at some point, does it not?
But how do you enforce that when they don't own the property anymore?
Right. They don't own
And
it.
yeah, and if
Right.
there's two houses, do we do 200 on each? Is that what we're gonna ask for? Or are we, and if the payment isn't done on the other house, is that kind of like a lien or something we're gonna put on that house? So during the sale of the house, the next time it gets cut? That's what it just seems a little, if the fees start to accrue for the person who isn't responding to us. You
So
know what I mean?
Adam may well have some insight into this. Maybe it has to wait till you could get with Adam for the last Tuesday in this month. Is that feasible? He could
Matt,
clarify.
that's a good question. I better
Oh, you
not.
won't be around.
Nope.
Matt,
So
you're it.
I could meet with Adam, but I've spoken to him about COCs before, and he is also unsure of what the best method is to get payment when they no longer own the home.
Just a block quote.
But I can talk to him again and see what we can do. See what the best method is. But I don't think he'll have a very clear and concise answer for us, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you. So then maybe best case is we just have to wait till if the property ever gets sold again, and then that's the time.
Right.
But in the
It'd be
meanwhile,
nicer to get this figured out versus holding up a closing.
Yeah.
Half the cost
Right.
of what the fee would
Right,
have
this is what-
been without. the
yeah,
payment.
and this is what I'm trying to clarify is we've got two houses. We have one person here who's willing to pay half the fee. And the other one, but we have to somehow separate it so the person who
Right.
isn't paying is the one who's accruing,
Absolutely.
right?
And what you.
And you're not being punished for,
And you're not being
Yeah.
punished.
And Tom either, the guy in the other half now.
Yeah,
He didn't know.
and he had no idea, right?
I was just, he said he was going to.
No.
Can we not do a
So,
partial
doable?
COC?
Is that
We can
doable,
do-
Jessica?
Yeah, we could do a partial,
Great.
issue a partial COC. And then, so what that means for everyone's purpose is, so the permit originally was issued to Deborah for 729 Riverbank Terrace. It's like a duplex house, essentially. It's not two separate houses. So that's where it gets kind of weird too. But what you can do is when we issue a certificate of compliance, we have 3 different options to check, 3 different boxes to check: a complete, so everything was great, all work was done in compliance. You have a partial, which means X portions of the work were done in compliance. Or you have an incomplete, which means like, no, you failed your final compliance inspection, essentially. So we could do a partial and only issue it to whichever number Mr. Libby resides at. And then so that partial COC would get recorded and tied only to his portion of the property. So that's an option. So that would automatically cut the fee in half.
But Jessica, isn't the certificate of compliance, that's about work that has not been done. So the work is complete on both
the work is complete, but this was actually something that we had talked to town council about previously, and you can utilize a partial,
Well, Ann has something she wants
I
to
have
add.
a question to ask.
yeah.
The other gentleman who owns the other side is under the same, how does he get a partial COC to clear his property? How does he get that when would be the same as Mr. Libby?
Yep,
Correct.
it would be the exact same process. Yeah, we would just split them out. But it's easier, if we can just do everything under one umbrella. But if we do not have all parties present, then we can split it that way. But I mean, it does bring back to the, just sort of the general fact that the permit was issued to the past owner. So just in
So
my
it's-
like human rights mind, like she should be responsible for this, not them. So.
Exactly. So she's the one that we would need to put the pressure on to pay these fees
But how do you
somehow.
put a?
I don't
She's gone.
know.
She's gone. She sold the house. She's no longer around.
She's in Townsend,
She's on Ponderosa.
Yeah, she's on Ponderosa.
yeah.
It's in the paperwork. I read
So,
the
so
paperwork.
The permit is issued to her as a Ponderosa Drive address, with
It
work
is?
being done at Riverbank Terrace. Yep. So that's how I found
So
her.
why can't we put a lien on it, on her Ponderosa?
Because it's not connected to,
It is,
why is it connected to
because
it?
Legally connected.
Yeah,
because it's.
Permit has her name
it's-
on it.
the
That might be a
permit-
question I can bring to Adam right there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Definitely want to
That-
check before we
yeah.
we think that.
For sure.
Ponderosa
Because
Drive,
that's where she lived when she built,
whatever it was,
yeah.
it's tied to her Ponderosa address.
Yeah, but the certificate of compliance is connected to the
To Riverbank.
No,
Riverbank.
I know,
So I don't think that that's a clear cut thing that we can do, that we can just,
and
put it on her house. I think that,
Yeah, I mean, it also, and like, this is definitely where we would need to ask town council too, because like, there could be some like statute or something that, or some language in the permit that someone could always come back and say, oh, well, there was a transfer of title of the property after X amount of years. I am freed of all liability associated with it or something.
yeah, but you have people, like, Drew and Maria Milliken that came in, the house was built in the late 90s and they paid it. Kevin Smith's done it too.
I know, yeah. And that's why it just comes back to like, well, you're the one who signed it, so you should be responsible. So, but yeah, I've reached out to Deborah like 4 or 5 times since she filed this request, and I never heard back.
But I don't think that's fair.
maybe a
well,
letter
life
from
isn't
town
always fair.
council? I don't know.
I think it would be nice not to have the homeowners now. They want to resolve it. Mr. Libby wants to resolve it. And we should do something tonight that can resolve it so that he doesn't at least have to deal with this anymore. And you said your neighbor he was going to come and he's,
He told me he was gonna come,
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait a lot lately, I don't know, just traveling.
yeah. But he seems amenable to
Something, yeah,
pay it, but I don't know,
well,
yeah.
he technically doesn't know anything, that was all
Right.
done before he even bought.
That's true. All right, so if there's some way we can do it so that Mr. Libby can be,
Not legally liable for $400.
right. Right,
Yeah, and I just don't want it to come back. I just want to make sure the paperwork's all
clean.
right.
So 10 years down the road, somebody,
So would we be better off than to wait and speak with town council?
as long as we don't accrue any more
Yes.
fees, I
Right.
mean, there's a good effort being made here, so we should just stop any of that happening.
Oh, I agree.
Okay.
So
I agree
we can
there.
make that motion and,
So I'll make a motion that we, stop all the fees from this particular property for the certificate of compliance on 7-9 Riverbank
from accruing,
from accruing from this day on. until we talk to town council.
Yeah, second that.
And, yeah, and then also we'll, communicate to Mr. Libby what we find out, so that if you're going to pay, you're gonna pay, and then we'll call it a day.
At least get you, we appreciate you coming and joining us tonight. Um,
Yes, no.
Do we have a motion and a second, any discussion?
No, thank you, Mr. Libby.
Thank you
Welcome.
very much.
Jessica, do you have anything you want to add before we do a roll call? Just the fee aspect?
No, I think you're good. Yeah. This is just messy and there's no easy answer and it sucks and I'm sorry. I would hate it too. I'd be so mad. So, but, Mr. Libby, if it's easier to, I'm going out on maternity leave, like, let's hope tonight, doubt it. But, if it's easier to communicate with you via email, if you just want to leave your email with James there in front of you and then he can get it to us, we can do that if that's easier than mailing you letters. But
Okay, sure. Either one will be fine.
Awesome. Now we have to do a roll call.
So roll call, please.
Pat Jamal, yes.
Linda Mac, yes?
James Gates, yes.
Alice Ray, yes.
Joan Savoy, yes.
Matt, you're going to listen back to our conversation and try to put something together and meet with Adam.
Yep, I can do that. It's usually the last Tuesday of every month, so that's
Okay,
end,
so
end of
this-
February.
This won't be put back on the agenda until beginning of March.
Yep. First March meeting.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Libby. It's in
Thanks
the,
again for coming
Thank
in,
you for coming in.
and hopefully we'll get this resolved in the next
So-
month or two.
they will talk to or Matt will, or admin will talk to town council the last week of the month. So we'll discuss it again beginning of March.
Okay, I'll let you guys know, I probably ride my bike on the bike trail more
Oh,
than
good.
anyone in this town.
Really?
Every day, every day.
Every day, even in the snow.
Yeah, don't worry, yeah. Well, in the super cold, I miss a day. every
Yeah,
now
yeah.
and then, But
Do you have a fat tire? Is that why you
yeah,
can do this? No, good.
number, of-
Yeah.
That's
That's
great.
the way to do it.
no, it was huge to me, do you guys put that in?
Isn't that
Well, we
amazing?
didn't,
It was the
So
Squaticook
Squaticook
River Rail
Green-
Trail,
Greenways did it.
but actually James is one of the construction guys who actually did it.
Yeah, I mean,
And he did the nice job.
Okay.
basically.
I was homesick under Cancer Street, I was sick as a dog. The only thing I could do was get out my pillow and wobble down the bike trail.
Good for you. Saved your life.
Fantastic.
Good to hear.
Everything.
Oh,
Good. Thank you.
thank you again.
Thank you.
Be well. There you go, James.
No, they're
Crazy.
20 years of work for them to put that in,
I know.
and people really do love it.
It is, it's so wonderful for the town to have it.
You always see cars there, people pulling in with their
Yeah.
bikes and stuff.
It's and walking and running. It's awesome.
Moving on to,
I should tell Joan about what he just said and maybe they can call him and put it on the website.
Yes.
For the story. Okay? We'll do that.
you guys have a meeting next week, so,
We do.
for the week after.
No, the week after, so it's a conflict of our meeting, so
It-
if you
Um,
don't need me here, I'll be going to that.
we're probably gonna need you here.
No, you know. Ooh, I'm really tired of this. Are they coming back next to Main Street?
Yeah, they're gonna be coming back every week for a long time.
Yeah.
Like,
If people that don't do it, if you've done the work in the beginning, it'd be fine.
3.2 request for a certificate of compliance, 128 Turner Road. Jessica, is this the one you and I had a conversation about with the plant mitigation?
no,
No?
that's another one. No, this
So-
was just a,
This is,
20, I don't know, late teens, home build, by Benjamin Builders that was never
So-
closed out.
In the file, there's a letter that you sent out for 178 Turner Road also. Is that supposed to be in there or no?
Or is it a typo?
That I'm not sure. What does the 178 say?
A typo.
It is
Oh,
a
man.
typo.
Oh
It's the
crap,
same
is it 17? No, it should be 128. That was probably a typo then.
Okay,
Is it, can you flash in front of the owl?
which one? Hold on, let me look at the.
Yeah.
What-
I
yeah,
sent
it's
him a
supposed to
few
be-
letters.
It's not very good at picking up text. I don't know if
Is
you're
that
gonna be
my
able to read
handwriting
it.
up on the top right in a color pen? Yeah, that's mine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that was
Yeah.
just a bad, yeah, sorry, that was just a typo. Yes. Same house, 128 Turner. It's right on the boundary with another town, up Shirley, maybe.
Yep.
Anyway, yes, so this is just a one residential home build back a few years ago that got a order of conditions to do a little bit of grading in the wetland buffer. They did the work, obviously, and then just never filed for a COC. So they were on my naughty list to reach out to. So that is what this is for. I did an inspection a few weeks ago. Everything looked good, so I would recommend issuance of a complete certificate of compliance.
Okay,
How many more of these does he have outstanding? And this is
Um,
me.
I don't know. The list that we have accumulated over the last like 10 years is only really what's available on meeting minutes on the website, which is very spotty also. So there could be a lot more out there. But yes, this is a continual theme
Mm-hmm.
for this
Which is-
particular applicant.
Who's the applicant, please?
Benjamin Builders.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, work's done. What,
It looks good. They paid the fee, so
they did?
administratively we're squared away. Yep.
Do we have a motion and a
And I'll make
second?
the motion, to issue and approve a certificate of compliance for 128 Turner Road, DEP 308-0633.
second,
Roll call vote, please.
Pat Jermel, yes.
Demac, yes.
James Gates, yeah.
Anna Cleary, yeah.
Savoy, yes.
Okay, we have the COC we can sign before we leave tonight.
Okay.
Can we pass it around now? It's fine, or does it get too?
I think it gets too confusing for me, but that's just me. Okay, clothing allowance stuff. Before we discuss it, did you guys order your iPad yet?
Yep, iPad has been acquired. I am in the process of getting the data plan for it now, and that's just been a little bit of a hassle, but I should have that soon.
Woohoo!
So excited to get a new laptop.
Well, it's just an
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Nice, still
iPad.
fun.
All right.
So Jessica wasn't sure what she wanted yet as part of her clothing budget. So this is just mine. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at them yet. It's in the OneDrive, but it was just some gloves, some tick repellent, rain pants, and then a outdoor jacket.
Okay, did you want to see it?
Yeah. please.
Because each of us gets 300 and you can't use it for anything else other than clothing. So
If I may, that's a union negotiated item, that you can't
Yes.
not, right, you can't change it. Thanks, Matt.
correct. Yeah. So I think total that I think between those 4 items, it was 20, $155.
Okay, so what are you gonna spend the other 145 on? Why don't I just get it done?
I I don't know. If something comes up, maybe if my boots spring a hole, I can buy new boots or something. You know, I don't know.
Okay.
What about those permethrin hoodies?
Well, he put permethrin spray on it.
Oh, okay.
I bought the spray
Okay.
because yeah, I was thinking about getting fleeces with the town logo on them, but you have to a lot of those places you have to order in bulk. You can't just order like one, like 2 of them. So I could maybe continue to look into that. But
Well, that's your choice.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Oh, we're gonna have a
Fair.
general enforcement discussion.
so, I don't have any problem.
No, it's good. No,
Okay.
do we have to make a motion?
Yeah,
I'll make a motion
Sure.
to approve the expenditure for the clothing.
A second,
roll call vote, please.
Pat Jamal, yes.
Linda Mac, yes.
Shane Skates, yes.
Anna Marie, yes.
Joan Savoy, yes.
thank you.
All right.
Enforcement protocol. Yeah.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna do mandatory referral notice for ZBA
Okay.
regarding 5. I'd actually kind of prefer to do that at the end, but all right, so,
Okay.
We're gonna jump
That's fine
around.
with me, I don't care. I just was going down the list.
so it's,
You're the boss.
Yeah.
no. The general enforcement protocol discussion is geared towards if you have questions to ask. So we can clarify and discuss it. It's not to go over each individual line.
Well, Matt had sent us the
Yes.
workbook type thing. Was it about that?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna jump down to 3.6, mandatory referral notice from ZBA regarding 5 Ryan Road. Notice is hereby given that the Townsend Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a virtual public hearing on February 15th, 2023 at 6 p.m. via Zoom video conference on the application of John Williams for the property located at 5 Ryan Road, Assessors Map 9, Block 10, Lot 11. The applicant is requesting a special permit under accessory apartment in residential district. Uses allowed pursuant to subsection 145-65 special permits of the Townsend zoning bylaw. The applicant is requesting a special permit, requesting approval for use of an existing built living space as an accessory apartment. The applicant is considering an affordable accessory apartment.
Doesn't it have to be mandatorily an affordable accessory apartment? Or family?
I think that's outside us. Yes, Ann?
I have a question. Do
Yes.
they need to go to, they'll have to go to the Board of Health with an apartment, that's such a rough thing.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, again. Because
What about-
so to all of them.
So is there any wetland issues?
Yes.
that took place?
Jessica, is this within, no?
Nope. You can see on
Okay.
top of the referral form who all the different board and committees that it gets sent to. So it would be sent to
Mandatory.
Exactly.
Board of Health, maybe Affordable Housing Trust if needed, so.
Or as,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
Joan had,
zoning
So-
board.
It's not
Okay.
jurisdictional.
No,
Correct.
so we just say
Thank you.
no comment.
Um,
Next.
Jessica, do you want to do your agent's report,
Sure.
please? Thank you.
Can pull it up.
Before you begin, Jessica, how are you feeling?
I'm just ready.
Yes,
I'm so done.
You must be exhausted.
I am. Yep. I was having some Braxton Hickses last night for a couple hours, so I thought that was it. And then I had a snack, and then they just stopped. So I'm still here. I was pretty disappointed though.
I don't blame you.
It's always
Well, I
like,
hope it goes
notice.
quick for you, dear.
Thank you. But not quick, like on the side of the road quick.
Oh, no,
Like
no,
James,
no.
James thought. So
Maybe in Merrimack on Route 3 last week, I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, no, once you get comfortable.
All right. Agent report. So days covered January 9th through February 3rd. During this period, our January 25th meeting was canceled, and we had other inclement weather closures during that time as well. Building permit interdepartmental signatures were done for 5 Madison Avenue, 75 Pierce Road, with a note about an erosion barrier being placed on the western edge of improvements because there's a pretty steep slope, and then signed off on 1 Magnolia Lane. We did not have any referrals during that period of time. Board of Health interdepartmental signatures were completed for 321 Townsend Hill Road, 549 Main Street, with a note that they would need to file an NOI, and that will be coming up at your next meeting. 3 Campbell Farm Lane and 3 Sagittarius Lane. We issued a standard order of conditions and attachment A to 5 Madison Avenue formally on January 18th. Then we issued a -3 determination of applicability with special conditions as well for the Squanicook Meadows habitat maintenance, which was picked up by the Board of Selectmen on January 25th. The applications that we currently have in and started to process during that time period was the request for COC for 7 to 9 Riverbank Terrace. You guys are caught up on that one, obviously. The request for COC for 128 Turner Road. I did the site visit on January 18th for that. A few RDAs, one for 100 Warren Road, the driveway installation that already happened. RDA at 3 Wheeler Road for a septic replacement, partially within the buffer, and then RDA, another one for Squanicook Meadows for some invasive species removal on the bank of the Squanicook. So those will all be covered at the next meeting. And then we have the NOI in for 549 Main Street septic replacement. Miscellaneous matters. We are still communicating with the attorney of the builder for Alyssa Drive subdivision, or the Deer Run subdivision. Matt prepped some letters to the owners that we might have to send out. Still trying to get proof of issuance of any certificates of compliances to all the 4 orders of conditions for that whole neighborhood. Otherwise, we need to get those requests in, and we have like $4,000 or $5,000 worth of fees that have accumulated on those. For just stormwater agent stuff, I visited Blood Road at the end of December, and then again a few times this past month for some drainage concerns that were happening on private properties and spilling out into the road. So that was figured out by the building commissioner, highway superintendent, and myself recently. I prepared a letter of recommendation for Squanicook Greenways for the Mass Trails grant per their request. Obviously, we have enforcement order at 158 Main ongoing. We attended 1 interview for the land use coordinator position. No, we didn't. We never had that interview. Sorry. And then we'll talk about it a little more tonight, but we received DEP correspondence regarding issuance of a superseding order of conditions for South Row Road, Westcon developments. And that is the gist of it.
Jessica, I was driving down Main Street. And across from where Gary, I think it's like where Gary made that nice field.
I know where you're going.
What?
I know where you're going to.
Well, I just want to know, like, what's happening with that? I mean, I drove by and I was like, yes, is that what it is? I don't know the number, because I just happened to drive by,
So
because,
there is a file on that, from what I was told, in our office,
okay,
with a plan.
when the house was built, or, okay,
So Matt,
so there's
could you
wetlands there.
pull the file on 127 Main Street, I believe?
I don't
I'm
know.
not trying to,
No, I just thought, I haven't heard anything about it, and, except from you-know-who. And I keep hearing about it and nothing comes up here. So I'm like,
there
can
is-
we just deal with
There is
this?
a stream that crosses through there, but
but
there
look at
is
the
there is no
vegetation.
filling. I look at that property every morning when I drive by it because
I
my
see
suspicions
that
now.
there are piles of things within
And trucks.
and trucks,
And trailers.
and within, it could be on the edge of wetland, it could be in the wetland. I don't know until I would get out and look, but it's
So-
close enough that we should,
I don't think there's wetland on that side. There's wetland on the other side.
Oh.
So the subject side is only that stream, but I
So
know
if you're
there's
facing-
allegations that it's being filled, but I believe the guy is
Oh.
just storing stuff there. But
I
again, I look at it all the time and I don't see those piles ever moving or getting smaller. So I don't think
I
anything's
actually, it has to be looked at closely, because it did look like to me there was debris, piles of things that were close to a wetland. And so it needs to be addressed, similar to, 158, we just need to address it.
So Matt, from what I was told, and I'm sure Linda was, there's a file on 127 Main Street.
Right,
From when the house was built,
Mhm.
and there's a plan.
wetland delineation on it. Yeah.
That we can reference. I know wetlands change.
Not that fast, but they do change.
And
Hundreds of years.
You just wanted to
Sorry.
decide.
Exactly, changing. Maybe in 100 years they change. Anyway, sorry.
And I know Jessica's done, done,
She's done.
wants his shit
Yeah,
out of
yeah,
her.
Jessica. Morning.
But Matt, could you pull that file and next time you're in and just send me an email and I'll come in, or Linda can
Yeah.
come in and look at it.
Sure.
Okay,
And then we could go from there.
Mhm.
So I don't see piles being pushed in. I don't see,
they're just stored.
but it's still really close.
Yeah, and it should be looked at.
And I don't think we need to go, I personally don't think we need to go marching out there with a tape measure and say, hell.
No, but we need to see.
But if we can look at the plans.
When there's a wetland delineation and we see that it's within, then we should just send a letter or something. Maybe even Matt can do it. I can help him with it. Just send it and say, he needs to move it.
So the action item is Matt's gonna pull a file, send me and you an email. We
Okay,
can
and
look
we
at
can
it.
come look at it.
Does that sound okay?
And anybody else want to come?
Yes. No.
We are the commission. Yeah.
So Jessica, question I had was, were the letters, for Alyssa Drive sent out?
No. We are exactly the same scenario as 7 to 9 Riverbank. The permits were issued to the developer. So in my mind, he should pay these fees because he never followed through with all of his conditions of his orders by filing the COC. So we're trying to fight with his attorney sort of about that right now, but it's me versus an attorney. So that's hard.
At
But-
what point do you turn Adam onto this and let,
Well, we already
All right.
did. So that's why we drafted the letters to the residents. Because I guess, yeah, after a certain amount of time, because of the transfer of property and it being like over 10 years at this point, there is a certain statute on it when it would then become the new homeowner's responsibility. But we're trying to exhaust our options to get the developer to do it because, again, just human nature. It was his fault, not theirs. So
Well, at what point do you just move on?
So,
but it's like $5,000 worth of fees though. That's the thing. It's not like a couple $100. So
It's a lot of money.
no, I was just, should we deal with this internal, like at a meeting? And request that, whatever you recommend, we do? I mean, it just,
I would
want to put you out of
bet
your
my
misery.
unborn child that he would not show up to a meeting.
No, but I mean, to just, just get it dealt with, I guess.
We could try, yeah, I mean, we could try. I would probably recommend that we wait then a few months till I'm back.
All right.
At this point, what's another couple months at this point? So,
Yeah,
Come back, I think. April.
No, I mean, Matt can do stuff, we can have Matt do stuff too. I don't want to,
Matt only has.
I'm
20
not
hours
saying
to-
this like I expect Jessica to go out and do these things at all.
so we
Um,
have, yeah, so there's four orders of conditions. 3 are tied to individual lots for houses that were actually built within the 100-foot buffer. The 4th order was for the parent parcel for the installation of the road and the stormwater utilities and everything. So it's because it's linked to the parent parcel, all of the 15 subdivided new lots are tied to it. Even though a lot of the houses have absolutely nothing to do with any wetland encroachments. So the 3 permits that are directly just for the single houses all have over $1,200 fee. And then the fee for the whole subdivision is maxed out at $1,300. So, I mean, the best we could do is like what we were talking with Mr. Libby is, divide the max $1,300 fee divided by 15 lots and have them pay that amount each. But then you have those other 3 poor homeowner souls that are then going to be coughing up $1,200 each.
Do it now or do it when you try to sell.
So,
Yeah.
Well,
that's what's in the letters to the owners that we haven't mailed out yet. But it does say that like this is very likely to be flagged on a sale of your property. So taking care of it now versus holding up closing for 2 months is better. But
Jessica,
Please
I
don't
mean,
change.
I know builders and developers are quite aware of orders of conditions and COCs and stuff, and I think we should exhaust all avenues on the original guide first before we go to the homeowners.
yeah, no, I
So
agree.
like-
Yeah, so I mean, there's like 4 different LLCs. I mean, these guys knew what they were doing, and one of them unfortunately has passed on. So now it's only this one other guy left. So, but
So you want to
I was
deal with
told
this
right
when you
from the start that he is a dodger of fees. So
Do you want to wait till you get back for us to focus in on him and?
I think that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I've sort of been email arguing, I guess, a little bit with his attorney lately, but again, I think it can wait. That's fine, unless you guys find it super pressing. But they pretty much maxed out their fees, so it's not like another few months won't make a difference.
Okay. The last question I have is, this is probably most likely definitely non-jurisdictional, but when are they paving Campbell Farm Lane?
I don't know.
Again,
I don't know.
No.
Well, I know they just filed.
outside of the realm, but any other development would have been paved by now. You
So-
can't do this. Oh,
They're not done, so they still have 2 houses to go.
Yeah, and it should have had a binder.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not really sure. That would probably be a Beth question or like a planning board question because they're the
Yeah.
stormwater authority because it was a major project. I can only really comment on minor projects.
I think Beth was talking to someone about it today, so it seems like things are happening.
Okay. Because again, I know it's outside of where we should be talking, but yeah, there should be a binder down, you know, because the gravel will run off and cause silt into, you know, drainage ditches, and I know there's nothing right there, but it's still yeah. So I know you're the stormwater agent. I just plant that seed.
Got it.
And what else?
That's the only question I have on for you for it. So much. We want to push the enforcement the stuff and just down to correspondence.
Or we can put it to another day.
What?
We can do it.
We have a bunch of RDAs and NOIs next time,
Oh, we do?
but
Or maybe we save it for a night that's light,
Yes.
right?
I don't
That
think
might-
those exist anymore.
The point of that was for you guys to read the enforcement manual that Matt sent out a few weeks ago and then come with questions that we
I
can
did
try
s-
to answer.
I did say
So
that.
it's not like I'm gonna give you like a 20-minute 101 presentation. Because I'm not like an enforcement guru. So it's more come with questions. We'll answer if we can. If not, we'll go offline, research them and report back. So if we don't
Okay,
have
just-
that ready for tonight, then I would again recommend just push that a couple months, probably till I'm back. But I know it was requested by a few of you. So that's why we wanted to try to get it on the agenda.
Yeah, I'm okay with it waiting.
Me too. Me too.
Ooh, just saved a bunch of time.
Yes.
Yes and no, we could, if we had, you know, questions, then
Well, I think my only,
yeah,
what I would like a discussion is how we do enforcement. Or at what point, you know what I mean? Like the whole process.
Yeah,
I think that's an important discussion, knowing what we know about from the enforcement manual, right? Like how do we want to have this done? And I think that's more important than anything. So we can wait 2 months for that, for sure.
yeah.
So I'd say then in the meantime, think about how you guys as a commission would like to approach enforcement situations. What is really meaningful enough to you to act
Yeah.
under an enforcement order or some sort of violation or ticketing system?
Yeah.
So that's what I would sort of start brewing in your minds. And
Yeah.
then we can circle back.
Yeah, already brewing. Good, thanks.
Excellent.
all right, Beck, do you want to?
That's okay.
Okay.
I think it's Matt forwarded all to it.
It's probably in the OneDrive too.
Yeah, that's what it is.
All right, planning board A&R plan for Bayberry Hill Road. So this is. I'll just ask Jessica, is this gonna be coming down to us at some point?
I don't know. I was just trying to buy myself some time. I don't know. I don't think I really looked at this one. This was more just correspondence from planning board that they approved an A&R on this lot. So, if there are wetlands involved at this point, the next step would be for this developer to go to the building department to file for building permits, at which point we would have the opportunity to do a conservation sign off
Okay.
on it. So that would be when we determine if they need a permit or not.
Sounds good.
Yeah, he
They don't need a
knows
Oh,
what he needs.
okay, yeah. Yeah. It does.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
We don't have to do anything right now on that.
I actually just logged it
Okay.
last month, so. Memo regarding, moving on, memo regarding Townsend's recycling product procurement policy. This memo is a reminder of the select board's established policy to encourage the purchase of recycling products for the purpose of our municipal government whenever practical. This policy is consistent with our intent to be a leader in environmental practice through an active and highly successful recycling program, as well as our other ongoing initiatives. With many members of boards, committees, and departments, it is important that all are aware of our buy recycled policy. Our purchasing recycling items contributes to a healthier market for these materials, increasing the demand and acceptance of earth-friendly products. If you have any questions, please contact TA Eric Slagle. I'm not going to read the whole thing if everyone wants to read the recycle procurement policy. PCR car studying plan for Emery Road. Townsend Rod and Gun Club. Didn't we talk about the Rod and Gun Club?
We had a forest cutting plan before, it was about a month ago.
Yeah, but there was something that held over our head for
Oh,
a
yeah.
while, but whatever.
We wanted to do a lot of tree clearing around that pond on site,
So,
Yeah.
but it's like all wetlands around there. So it was gonna be a lot more expensive than they thought, so they walked
Alright.
away.
So what's this, then, this is not the rod and gun, or the,
it's DCR land. Or. Yeah, I don't know. It's 179 thousand board feet. Mostly white pine, little hemlock, red maple, red oak. Bunch of red maple, geez. Black oak and white oak. I hope Mass Wildlife isn't paying attention to
Hey, James,
it. Yeah,
if I may, the good news is that I think it got to be 13 below the other night here in Townsend. And the pine beetle that's been eating all the pines dies at -8. And then the woolly adelgid that's been eating all the hemlocks dies at -6. So it was a good night.
good.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
good.
Really cool.
so the landowner is the Townsend Rod and Gun Club. That's,
Yes,
doing this, okay.
Yeah, Southside National Heritage.
So this is rod and gun. They're probably getting money for this,
Yeah, it's in-
Needed
it's
money.
in 61.
yeah. So this is all wetlands, so they are doing it. All around wetlands. If these are ponds,
Yeah,
which I think they are. If I remember correctly. So there is a lot of wetland around here.
but they have a forester.
Yeah.
Involved, so it's a. You know. It's a process.
No, no. I just like to know what's happening. A lot of trees.
But it'll promote health,
Maybe.
the forest health. All right, 4.5, planning board notice and decision regarding 227 Mason Road. I thought we were, did this must have been something else.
We looked at the Board of Health decision. I think we haven't looked at the planning board decision yet.
Okay. Notice is hereby given that a special permit site plan review according to MGL Chapter 40A and Townsend zoning bylaw sections 145-42 and section 145-65 was granted on January 9th, 2023. No. Okay, good. Unitil yearly operational plan update. So Unitil is exempt for the most part. Jessica or Matt, was there anything that popped out?
It seemed like it was just an update to because we already looked at the yearly operational plan. I think maybe they included more in their, let's see, in their vegetation management. I think they added more information. If you wanted to take a look at it.
Yeah, it's the sub-transmission lines, the yellow. But we're just gonna be trimming them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So that, yeah, this letter was just asking if we, please let us know if there are any additional sensitive areas located on or near the rights of ways, and to advise them as soon as possible so they can be proactive with their field activities.
How big on that? How would we know if they're sensitive? I know they're two different.
I
How
can
do we
barely
know?
read the maps, so I don't know.
So you've got the Matt's wetlands here. They know what's there.
Well, they must.
Do we have any, so you can't see the maps, Jessica?
I can
She-
see the maps. It's unclear to me. It's just hard to follow them.
Like, they know where,
Yeah, it's all usually identified sometimes on maps. Sensitive areas, right?
Yeah, they have all the wetlands mapped.
Okay, this is mostly in the south.
They have natural heritage areas too.
Yeah. It's all mapped.
again, they tip, yeah, they have their procedure when,
Well, it's nice that they asked if we wanted to let them know anything again.
um, 2022 annual, drinking water quality report. Reading
Is there a summary somewhere?
that's-
Is this with our wells in our town? Okay.
Even the summary is. Our system is routinely inspected by the Mass Department of Environmental Protection, Mass DEP. Mass DEP inspects our system for its technical, financial, and managerial capacity to provide safe drinking water to you. To ensure that we provide the highest quality of water available, your water system is operated by a Massachusetts certified operator who oversees the routine operations of our system. As part of our ongoing commitment to you, last year we made the following improvements to our system: new Main Street well, Harbor Trace water treatment plant, centers in the bidding phase of the project, and construction will begin June 2023. Harbor Trace well currently shut down due to high levels of PFAS, which is Brook 2 well is on PFAS monitoring program due to detection in the well. The last test put the levels at 18.8 parts per thousand with a 20 parts per thousand limit. I guess that's the best summary. February 16th on Zoom, there's a transportation open forum. Why do we get this?
I think it just goes to all the boards.
And then 4.8 superseding order for conditions issued for DEP number 308-0681 and 308-0682. Mass DEP has completed its review of the request for departmental action filed on April 5th, 2021 on your behalf of Finner and Nicholson, PC. This appeal was in response to order conditions issued by the Townsend Conservation Commission on March 29th, 2021, denying the project as proposed in the notice of intent. The appeal was filed in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act. I'm not going to read it all. Mass DEP held an informational meeting at the site of the proposed project on September 25th, 2021. The notice 10 proposes construction of a single family residence and I can't even pronounce it. Ordinances, including an on-site septic system, portion of which are to be constructed within buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland in riverfront area. On October 6, 2021, Mass DEP requested additional information to address questions raised concerning the wetland delineation and accompanying DEP data sheets and the availability of the soil test pit logs generated for the parcel. Mass DEP received additional information addressing this request on February 3rd, 2022. After review of the notice of intent and additional information submitted during the appeal, Mass DEP concludes that the project as currently proposed can be conditioned to protect the interests of the act. For the above reasons, Mass DEP hereby issues the enclosed proceeding order of conditions which approves the project. If you have any questions, please contact Rabula.
James,
Yes.
that was a great surprise to me, considering the fact that the Superior Court said it was a no. So I don't know if Jessica knows if town council is involved in this in any way, please.
So, but also DEP can issue superseding orders, but if under our bylaw, if we say, I mean, I wasn't a part of this, but if we denied something under our bylaw, that stands.
So what next?
Next is they still need a Townsend Conservation Commission permit approval. So they have the state approval.
But didn't this, it sounded like we denied them?
We denied them with the design that they had proposed at the time. So they can either come back with a new filing to Townsend Conservation Commission with the plan that Mass DEP approved, which is in the OneDrive. It's a slightly different plan. So they can either come back to Townsend Conservation Commission to get a local orders of conditions with the Mass DEP approved plan, or they can come to us with a totally brand new plan, which I think was sort of their latest intent anyway.
Okay.
But that is just rumor, so I have no idea. And then Townsend Conservation Commission can issue them a state and town order of conditions as such, if it meets our regulations and such, and then WestCon can go back and like withdraw this superseding order of conditions or pass by it or something. But I think everybody knows that they still need a town conservation approval. So not really much we can do until we receive an application. But this is just correspondence.
Thank
So they
you.
know they can't go forward with the project until they get it from us.
I would assume that their attorney has informed them of such, yes. But I mean, that doesn't go to say, if, you know, someone's driving by and sees tree clearing or whatever happening, then.
What's the address again?
It's the corner of Emery and South Row. The address is South Row Road, Lot 1.
Maybe when I come in, I'll look at the original plan, I guess, and our orders of conditions and why we denied it. Matt, when we come in for,
Sure.
Yeah.
We have a ton of files on the WestCon situation, so
Yep, I
okay,
remember that.
all right,
that would be no problem.
okay. Thanks. Have it.
Yeah. Yeah,
The commissioner resigned because of it. He didn't like being served papers at his house.
Well,
Formality.
that's part of the fun. That's part of the fun, right?
Hey, one stop for you guys.
right, yeah, that,
ZBA notice of public hearing regarding 5 Bryant Road, which is redundant. I'm not going to reread it.
that.
2023 Environmental Preservation and Animal Welfare Grant Program. Linda, you know this
Yeah.
probably very well. I don't know if you have any.
Yeah, it's with the Community Foundation of North Central Mass, and if we have any projects that we want, I mean, Joan just did one. Joan, if there's something that's a little, you know, that could piggyback on that, or if, you know, the signage for the, that you were planning on doing for our water resource area, what was it called, the aquifer?
Yeah, unfortunately,
Does this have to happen before they're ready?
I don't know. They had an informational session, but it was last night was the
Yeah.
second one. I'm sure you could enter into a direction, talk with someone.
But I mean, it,
$2,000 to $10,000.
yeah. So, yeah, you can get upward of, I thought you could get more than 10,
I thought so. too.
20.
Uh,
But they're saying 2 to 10.
I think you can,
Anyways, they used to give up to $20,000. So if anybody has any ideas, it'd be nice for us to apply for a grant with them. Easy grant process, so not difficult.
they're a very giving organization, so.
Yeah.
Right, so, moving on to education and conferences, Citizen Planner Training Collaborative Annual Conference is March 18th. MACC is putting on a virtual annual environmental conference, February 28th to March 9th.
Oh, It's a virtual, huh?
Yeah,
Interesting.
Items for discussion at the next meeting.
What is the
What?
Bouncy ball.
Yeah.
And then we have a list of other RDAs and
We
NOIs.
had the, did you know, education materials,
Yeah,
2.3.
so. No, I'm going to assume that we're gonna have site walks, Matt, this coming week with you, for the RDAs and NOIs. We need participation, in those. It's imperative.
So send them out, the addresses that we need to be.
Yeah, they'll send them out usually Monday.
Yep, I'll send the email out with the timeline on Monday. For 100 Warren, the plan was for me to just park in their driveway and measure the distance from the wetland to the driveway. And then if you guys have time to drive past to check it out, you could do so. But there's really no place to park. So not really a great idea to have a group site visit there at the same time.
Okay,
Just,
that one's understandable. It's a bad corner. It's bad. Yeah,
All the others were scheduled for like between 10 and noon next Wednesday already.
Yep.
So just to block that off on your calendar, and then Matt will send out the order of them.
Directions so he doesn't get lost.
I know, it's a big town, this town.
Oh, I get lost in the brown paper bag.
next meeting is Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023 at 7 PM. Board of Select Chamber, second floor. The meeting will be held via virtual Zoom remote, in accordance with COVID-19 safe meeting guidelines. I have
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
at 8:50 PM, roll call vote, please.
Pat Gemini, yes.
Linda Mac, yeah.
James Gates, yes.
And LaFrida.
Joan Savoy, yes.